What is going on, people? So I wanted to speak to you about Liverpool's proposed investment led by Amit Bhatia's consortium, which features none other than the man himself, Jeff Bezos, taking up to 30% of Liverpool ownership and investing extremely heavily in the club, and what that means for the club and the wider game in football. So we're going to cover three aspects. So the first aspect I wanted to speak to you about is broadcasting and what that might mean. So if you live in the UK, you'll know the Boxing Day schedule of games. Classically, Boxing Day has been loads of football games on of the Premier League, the top teams playing one another, really interesting fixture while you're slumped out on the sofa after your big Christmas meal. Now, Amazon have been taking that on Prime, using their AWS technology platform for streaming services. They pay the biggest and best pundits to come and have a chat during halftime and do the analysis. They put in loads of cool little graphics. And if you remember the Sky Red button, all these little things back in the day that really fizzled out, Amazon did that and made it better. So now, is this an inroad? Being obviously that Jeff Bezos doesn't always equal Amazon, but if you put two and two together, could this be an inroad to saying, look, the Premier League is quite dispersed, where you have Sky, then you have TNT, and then you have the 3 o'clock kickoffs that you can't even legally watch in the UK. And some people have to find other means to do that, right? Because it's an old wartime thing that if people are not in the stadiums, then no one's going to basically watch the football, which it couldn't be further from the truth, right? We know that if you're a Man United fan, you're from London. If you're a Liverpool fan, you're probably not just locally from there. There's Everton fans and so forth. There are a lot of teams that are supported well outside their geographic region, even in the UK. So the first thing is will this shape and change broadcasting and the way we consume Premier League football in the UK? Will it be the first inroad? Will we see Liverpool TV maybe move away from the traditional satellite and cable platforms and go on to Prime as a result? And will that pave the way for Premier League rights to be purchased and for the waters to be tested by the US market, especially? Not just being Peacock, but could they put it on Amazon service? We've seen Netflix take on boxing. We've seen Netflix have WWE. We've seen Paramount take on the UFC and save so much money to consumer, but their numbers are higher than ever and their retention is higher than ever because it's now a reasonable cost and they got fans for life. Are they going to do the same thing to do that? And is it a win-win to crack down on piracy and all that stuff that's going on? Number two, we are now going to talk about the USA, right? That's my second point on the board. Now, the USA, 15 out of 20 clubs at one point had a significant US footprint ownership and share within the Premier League, right? More than 75%, nearly quorum, right? So if the US-based owners got together and wanted to have a certain agenda push in the Premier League, they could sign off it, right? And we see that with FIFA and the World Cup being a roaring success in the States in 2026, summer 2026, and the way that, if you remember how the Super League broke off but didn't work out, but then they did the format anyway through the Champions League, was it the whole FIFA facade around inviting private equity investing? Is this just happening in a different way where the same US market is entering the world of football in a bigger way to extract value, improve the product, whatever, whether it's cynical, positive, and somewhere in the middle? It could just be that now the road is paved for those people to enter the US market, right? And who knows, you might see Elon Musk popping up, you might see other big billionaires popping up from the US. But I think the fact that this is done through Amit Bhatia, it makes it more palatable. British Indian guy, has skin in the game in the UK, and he's bringing in Jeff Bezos in a kind of different aspect. So are we going to see that? We're going to see much more US investment now enter this game, because so many people made so many good videos on this, and I won't repeat all their content. But what I will say is that football is underrepresented from an investment perspective when it comes to the global investment platform or landscape. And then the third and final thing I wanted to say is good old-fashioned clout, good old-fashioned flexing. Is it now an opportunity where we're going to see billionaires who are just not Roman Abramovich? Roman Abramovich was quite a benevolent owner, actually, in hindsight, right? He never called in the loans from Chelsea, said he never was going to, invested in the club, was heavily involved, famous for sacking managers quite quick and often, but that's because he wanted results on the pitch. And he always put his money where his mouth was, right? And that can't be said, unfortunately, to be the same for investors like the Glazers. But really, if you're a billionaire or a multi-billionaire and you got nothing else better to do, is this now just an opportunity for people to get involved and live out their childhood dreams, right? If I can't score the winning penalty at Wembley in an FA Cup final, and that's a dream gone of old, and if I can't score a 30-yard screamer or an overhead bicycle kick like Gareth Bale to secure the Champions League, then at least I can own the club and get my